Hello, welcome back to the channel, and this is a channel where we give you reviews, playthroughs, unboxings. We generally like to talk a lot of bollocks about tabletop gaming in general, and in this video we're going to be talking about a Viking themed worker placement game. We're going to be talking about Champions of Midgard, and in this game you'll be placing your workers out on the board to get resources and get troops that will allow you to go in a battle that will give you victory points that will allow you to win the game. So in this video we're going to be giving you a very brief overview of the rules, telling you what we do like, we don't like. Then we'll come back and we'll tell you whether or not Champions of Midgard is still worth your time and bother 8 years after it was first released in 2015. So remember, if you're new here, please consider subscribing to this channel, hit the like button, all that YouTube bullshit. See you after this. Bollocks. So, Champions of Midgard, how'd you play this game? So Champions of Midgard is a Viking-themed worker placement game. At the beginning of the game, you will populate the board with a load of shit. You'll choose some random marketplace tiles and you'll stick them on a board. Each player is going to get a player board that has got a special ability printed on it, and you'll have space for 8 warrior dice. You can't have no more than that, so don't even try and sneak a few more into your bed. You're also going to get a number of workers. If you're playing with 2 players, you're going to get 1 more worker than you would if you're playing with other players. So on your turn, you will take one of your workers and you will place it on a slot on the board. Most of these slots have space for just 1 player, so it's like a Agricola type thing. Can't go there if somebody has already taken a piss there. And you've got things like hunting grounds where more than 1 player can go if they like. So this is a bog standard worker placement fair, right? You're just going to be placing your worker. You're going to be taking the action. There's different types of actions that you could take. They're color coded, right? You've got the creamy, runny, brown actions, right? These ones will be taken immediately. You've got the blue actions, which will be taken immediately, but the blue basically tells you that you've got to repopulate these areas when you finish doing all your shit, right? And then you've got the red ones, which will be activated after everyone's used all their workers, and these are like military style actions, right? So listen up, you fucks. I'm not going through all of the worker placement actions because that would just be fucking stupid, right? But here are a curated selection just for you. You've got the blacksmith, and here you can collect the Viking axeman dice present and place them in your personal supply. You'll be using these dice to go on missions, and you'll be rolling the dice to get hits that will damage monsters and other weird sounding creatures or things, right? You've got the Draugr spaces ×2. This is where you will assign your Viking dice after you've placed your worker here, right? And going here will instigate a little bit of combat. You've got the large public longship. You'll be able to hire a longship that will allow you to send troops to the monsters at the bottom of the board, right? When you do this, you will place your meeple on the ship, and then you'll move the ship to one of the slots above one of the cards that you want to activate. You'll also see that there is a journey card there. When you activate this, you'll have to flip the journey card over, and then you'll have to pay food to feed your Vikings that you've taken with you, right? Because you'll be able to load dice and food onto the ship. Each ship's got a maximum capacity, so you can't go over that. Don't even try it, right? So you got the runesmith. You will have to pay 1 wood cube to the supply and claim a rune card. Rune cards will give you points at the end of the game if you fulfill what's on them. They sort of guide you through the game a little bit, yeah? You can go to the sage's hut. This will allow you to take one of the cards there, and this will give you a 1-shot bonus. You can use these at any time, even on your opponent's turn. Or you can go to the troll card space, right? If the player that goes to the troll space defeats a troll, they'll be able to take the benefit there, and also give a blame token to a player of their choice. Blame tokens give you negative points at the end of the game, so the more you got, the more you're going to lose. If nobody goes to the troll space, then you're all fucked, because everybody's going to get a blame token. So somebody is going to have to go there every round, right? And then you've got the marketplace, which just allows you to get a random variety of stuff. So once everybody's placed all their workers out onto the board, you will then resolve combat. You'll go round each of the red spaces on the board, and each player will be able to allocate dice to that space. And once everyone's done that, then you will go around again and you'll resolve each combat. Combat works like this. Each opponent has a defense value and an attack value. You roll all the dice that you've put on that card, and you'll be looking for hits, right? Each hit will cause damage, right? And then the monster will attack you. They will cause a set number of damage unless you rolled shields, yeah? Each shield will mitigate one of the damage, and then you'll lose dice back to the supply. You'll keep doing this until either there's no Viking warriors left or you've killed the monster. If you killed the monster, you'll get the reward. And if you lose all your Viking warriors, then you lose, don't you? Fuck quit. So you do a bit of cleanup. You'll basically repopulate a board and do a bunch of other meaningless shit. And you'll do this for 8 rounds, and then you'll go into a little bit of final scoring. You'll score your destiny cards, right? Each enemy that you have faced has got a colour on it, right? For each set of enemies, you get 5 gold pieces, right? There's red, blue, and yellow enemies. If you've got a red, blue, and a yellow, then you will score 5 gold pieces. For each rune that you have, you'll get victory points, and they're on the card, right? So open your fucking eyes. Private longships will give you victory points, right? Did you honestly think that you were going to get victory points for going on the Isle of Wight ferry? Twat. as favour of the gods tokens up for grabs. You're going to get 2 victory points for these. If you use these in the game, they'll allow you to re-roll a die. If not, they'll give you some shit at the end. And for the amount of blame tokens you get, you'll lose victory points, yeah? So if you have 1 blame token, you will lose 1 point. But if you've got more than 6, you'll lose 21 fucking points, right? So that's massive. You do not want to get blame tokens, yeah? If you do, then you're a fucking idiot. So you keep doing this for 8 rounds, and then the player with the most points will be the winner of Champions of Midgard. So what do we like about Champions of Midgard? So the first thing that we really like about this game is that the dice rolling, whilst it is a random element, the amount of mitigation that is available to try and avoid substantial damage is quite high in this game, right? You are going to have to go on these missions and roll these warrior dice to win the game, because that's where most of the points are, right? You've got no choice but to plan ahead. You're going to have to get enough food and enough warriors to beat up the monster that you want. Some of these monsters have got 13 or 14 points available, so that's massive. So you really have to find a way of not only mitigating that monster damage, but also find enough food so that you can navigate those journey cars that are going to be there, right? So even though there is a random element of die rolling, yeah, it's perfectly mitigated, and if you fuck up, then it's on you, isn't it? So the second thing that we really like about this game is that dice will naturally cycle throughout the game. You're not going to get a load of dice, just keep them on your board. Like we said before, you're going to have to go on these missions and kill monsters and all the other lot to get points. But where the monster gets a default attack, right, dice will naturally cycle through the game, so it's very difficult to keep hold of them, and it is very difficult to get them unless you are first or second. So you're going to be fighting for that as well. Some monsters do have special abilities that are going to make it even more difficult to keep hold of your dice. Some monsters kill every warrior that shoots blanks. Don't even go there. So we like the fact that A, it's pretty difficult to get hold of these dice, and B, if you hoard them, then you're going to miss out on the opportunity to get points that's going to allow you to win, right? So you're going to have to throw caution to the wind eventually. So the final thing that we like about Champions of Midgard is the end game scoring, right? Every game we played of this has been exceptionally tight. You've never really known who is in the lead, and the game can swing wildly due to these rune cards and the destiny cards that are going to be kept secret throughout the game. It's also very difficult to keep track of who's killed what monster and who's got the sets. There's 5 victory points available for the sets. So we always say this, yeah, if a game's got this hidden scoring that keeps things tense at the end of the game, then the game doesn't fall flat, does it? It creates a sense of tension right up to the last minute, and that is super. So what don't we like about Champions of Midgard? So the first thing that we don't really like about it is the theme, right? And I suppose this is because we came to this game late, yeah? We didn't really look at it in 2015 because we're still playing Lords of Water. We still play Lords of Waterdeep now, but we were still enamoured by Lords of Waterdeep. So I thought, what's the point in buying this? And the Viking theme is, firstly, overused nowadays, and B, it's like this sort of acceptable form of brutality. People look at the Viking theme and they just ignore the imperialism of it. They ignore the raping and the pillaging and all that shit. And it just seems like some sort of acceptable form of brutality, like we said. But I suppose we can let this game off a little bit because it was released before Blood Rage, and I don't know if it was released before Raiders of the North Sea. But anyway, the Viking theme is fucking boring, and I would have liked this to maybe have had a completely different whack job theme, maybe. So second thing that we don't like about Champions of Midgard is that blame is a real pain in the arse. It is very difficult to get rid of it. One of the only ways that you can get rid of it is by defeating a troll, and there's always going to be competition to do over the troll, isn't there? Because that's the only way that you can get rid of blame, and it's one of the only ways that you'll be able to pass blame on to other players. There is a marketplace tile that lets you assign blame to somebody else, but once you've got blame, it's fucking hard to get rid of it. And that could be the difference, right? The fact that it doesn't take that much to lose a huge amount of victory points, yeah? If you've got like 3 blame and you get 4, then that is a massive whack, and that could lose you the game through no fault of your own, just because somebody decided to be an evil bastard. So yeah, there should have been more ways to get rid of blame. Not too many, right? I'm not saying that. It's still an essential part of the game, but the fact that there really is only one way to get rid of it, and if you're playing with a high player count, it's going to be hotly contested, then that is a bit of an oversight. So the final thing that we don't like about Champions of Midgard is that the character's special abilities seem a little bit unbalanced in the core box, right? The expansions do balance this out a little bit, but we're not talking about them. We're talking about the shit that's in the core box. Just look at the contrast between these two fuckers, yeah? You got the Berserker, right? And it says you gain 1 victory point each time you roll 1 or more 2 hit results in a round of battle. That's fucking massive. The more dice you get, the more chance you got of doing this. So you might go on like 3 battles in a round later in the game, so each battle you go on is going to score you a victory point, yeah? If you contrast this to Gilfer the Seaworthy, the only shit he gets is he doesn't pay when taking goods from the merchant ship, right? And A, you got to get here first, and then B, a lot of these merchant ship cards are a bit shit, yeah? There's only a few that are going to give you some powerful warriors, yeah? So that is a bit crap. One is going to give you a shitload of victory points, and the other is just going going to give you a couple of gold, right? And gold does convert to victory points as a ratio of 1 to 4, so that is a bit shit. So these character cards are a little bit unbalanced, and that sort of sucks, doesn't it? So to summarise, is Champions of Midgard worth your time and bother today and in the future? So we are going to say yes, this is an excellent worker placement game that successfully implements dice rolling and combat, right? It's got enough luck mitigation to allow the random die rolling element to just about scrape through that crack in the door. The theme is tired and dull, and it can be quite cutthroat. Blame is kind of unmanageable. The question everybody asks, right, is this better than Lords of Waterdeep? I'm going to say no, but it offers enough of a different take to warrant dumping one of these other shitty games out of your collection and replacing it with this, right? So there you go, that is Champions of Midgard. Remember, if you're new here, then please consider subscribing to this channel, hit the like button and all that YouTube bullshit. See you next time.